Welcome to Geopolitics in Conflict. Breaking news.
Wow, do we have something interesting for people today? China really surprised the US military and the intelligence community with unveiling of a hypersonic missile. And what that means is
Indeed, Ross. That is a major development. As a matter of fact, we did find out about it last night, and we decided to hold off on that till we confirm certain information with some of our sources in certain parts of the, without going into more detail into that. So, but the whole idea of this supersonic is it's. By the way, this one I was aware of one particular test that China conducted back in August. And this could be related to that one.
Yeah.
Except that back then, China didn't disclose the details of it. Well, here is the thing that you need to know. Why is this very important for you to know? Is that their hypersonic missile was able to orbit Earth at a low altitude.
What that means basically is it's undetectable or hard to detect because of the low altitude.
Exactly, is maneuverable. So which means any satellite tracking, it will tracking that particular missile will have a hard time doing that. So, and this is where China didn't want to disclose that information. But you and I know, and I am sure you do as well, that this one, what the significance of these announcements coming out of China.
Let me just define what hypersonic is.
Certainly, Russ.
30 times the speed of sound. That's 23,000 miles an hour. What that means is within an hour or less, you can hit any point on the planet.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Well, you can just see where the concerns, for example, will be for NORAD, the North American Aerospace Defense Command, because it will be defenseless and they won't even be able to assess the threat or the risk with something like this. You know, this is where the concern now in the United States and the Pentagon or even the intelligence community were shocked to find out. They're like, oh my gosh, where this happened? How this happened? You know, for China to achieve that level of capability regarding the missile technology. So,
you know, when we did the program on the computer specialist in Washington who resigned.
Yes. Yeah.
I can't remember his title, but
yeah, he was the Pentagon tech chief.
Okay.
He is the boss for technology in the Pentagon.
And what he said is, we've already lost. Well, do we need more evidence than what the Chinese have just done with this missile?
Yeah.
I mean, it came from so far behind and now cutting edge technology, and it's here now.
Yeah, exactly, because this kind of, and we did mention this in some of our previous videos when we talked about, for example, the China's advancement in technology. And I remember saying this, the military application to it. Well, that's what I was referring to. At that time, I didn't say it that way, but that's where the reference was to. And it becomes a question now, is this capability that China has reached deploys the AI, the artificial intelligence? And could this explain what the Pentagon tech chief resignations, which was basically sort of indicating how far behind we are in the field of AI in comparison to China?
What he said, quote, is the U.S. is in kindergarten.
Exactly.
Oh my goodness.
Exactly. But here is the thing, just we want you to know this, that the geopolitical message into all this, the way I read it, and this is my personal opinion, the way I read it is that China is sending a message to the United States. We all know what just happened with the USS Connecticut, the submarine, the nuclear submarine in the South China Sea. Could China be telling the US, hey, you might have sneaked in with your submarine in the South China Sea, but here is what we have, a far capability that can blind all your satellites, basically, because that's basically what that missile will be capable of doing.
You know, we have to ask the question with the USS Connecticut, what did it run into?
That is a good question, because that becomes now, there are speculations, and I cannot confirm this yet. There are speculations that could it be that China's AI was able to pinpoint exactly where that submarine was, and that submarine had to reemerge up to the surface. because he was detected. I mean, I am not sure about this yet. We are looking into this to make sure, but that's one of the things that I found out, Ross. That could
Well,
be
one of the interesting things is
Yeah.
that submarine is supposedly undetectable.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that becomes now the question on a much larger scale that we want you to know is, could this announcement destabilize the global order as we know it? Another word to simplify it is, are we moving from a unipolar system to a multipolar system? Well, we all know after the fall of the Soviet Union,
Right.
the world became unipolar under the United States global leadership. You know, it doesn't look like that is sustainable anymore with a capability like this that can now tip the balance towards some other unknown sort of outcomes, because now you're seeing if China develops this, that becomes a major.
In one of our recent conversations, you and I talked about 3 possible outcomes to this.
Mm-hmm.
Destabilization was one.
Mm-hmm.
Restabilization,
Mhm.
because we now have a balancing act going on. And what was the third?
I don't remember. You know,
I don't either.
I'm getting old, Ross. I don't remember.
You're getting old. Anyway, we
No.
talked about 2 alternatives.
Yeah, but that's very, very good point. But the key, Ross, you remember when we talked? To me, the way I look at it is now this is going to change the balance, the balance of power,
Right.
on a global level. You know, because remember, just for you to know, there are only 3 countries that develop this kind of technology: U.S., Russia, and China. Well, guess what? North Korea just tested a supersonic missile about a week and a half to 2 weeks ago. And the interesting aspect of it is that missile, Ross, is considered one of the fastest.
Wow.
So if you are an analyst, you put the 2 and 2 together and figured, oh, is this why we couldn't attack North Korea? Because we know what could have happened. It's because they do have the capability of ICBMs, which means the intercontinental ballistic missiles, which means they can cross continent, which means North Korea should ever we attack, we're seeing things flying over here.
Well, if they have hypersonic technology,
Yeah,
it would happen fast.
exactly. And this is now where the concerns inside the Pentagon. As a matter of fact, as of last night, literally around 2200 hours, I came across some info that indicating now already the Pentagon now is trying to allocate money towards increasing our capabilities in the hypersonic technology. We do have some, but not to this level of you have to orbit Earth, because here is the thing, and I am not a physicist or something, but I do have an understanding a little bit of how those missiles will work, because if this missile will go around the Earth, which means if it goes, let's say, near the South Pole, but the targeted elsewhere, well, guess what? The U.S. missile defense system might not be able to track it because it's maneuverable to beyond what you can imagine. And this is where you see the application of AI into this. And like we said last time, Ross, there are some military application to Chinese AI.
We said it out loud.
Yeah, China's not going to be using this only for people, only for society, whatever. China will also take advantage of it for military application to gain an advantage.
You know, a question with all this is,
Yeah.
I don't know if there really is a good answer, but how is it possible the U.S. government underestimated China's army modernization, and with these weapons and so on?
I guess if I am to think about that, Ross, is because China does think quietly.
Oh yeah.
China will do things just quietly. They don't advertise. They don't, so especially in military dimensions or something. Yeah, you're not gonna look. It happened in August, the first test that they did for. Did we hear much about it after that? No. I read up on it a little bit back then. I was like, that's interesting, and that's all. Of course, they're not going to disclose the specifications of it. Of course, they're not going to disclose the capabilities of this type of missiles and so forth. That becomes a state secret for every country does that. But China is known for not disclosing the information on that kind of stuff. They'll keep a low profile on it till they surprise you. This is exactly what just happened. And for this to come out last night, it tells me how serious that is.
You know, we did it. We did some exploration in one of our shows about the 200 missile silos.
Yes, I remember that one. And that question came up last night. As a matter of fact, in some of the conversations, could it be that's what those 120 silos were for? I don't have an answer to that, and I can't answer that because I don't know. But if the if the idea to be thinking in terms of this capability, well, now China's going to have, if this proven to be accurate and move forward, then you're looking at a race now that's going to be at full speed. And this is why the Pentagon decided it's about time to increase, because you all know what is going to be happening in the United States. Now they're going to throw so much money at companies to develop this kind of stuff. So that is the reason why we wanted to share.
Well, maybe
this.
some of the billion-dollar tanks won't be built.
Yeah, you will thank us, but I am sure they're gonna figure out a way for all that. So well, this is why we wanted to share this with you, just to keep you informed, as we always say. But at the same time, like Russ, you remember when you mentioned about we just provide.
What we really want to do is give you the best information we have. We know that we have got an international viewership, and we know that you have different perspectives, and you also have different background information that we might not have. So we really encourage you to think for yourself and come up with your own conclusions. Our part is to give you the best information we have.
To the best of our abilities.
Correct.
Because that's why, guys, we do our best with all this, but you reach your own conclusion. We can't do that for you. So well, we hope you find this information very useful to you, that at least keep you informed of what's going on, especially if you notice now Twitter, it is picking up on this big time. And that's why we ask you to follow us on Twitter, because we do put information on Twitter. Also, don't forget to follow us on TikTok, and Instagram, and remember our membership on the geopoliticsinconflict.com. You'll find it very useful. Thank you for watching. And as always, stay informed. Till next time. Bye-bye.